Good afternoon or morning, folks. This is a special edition of What's Happening Dracut. It is Saturday, September 9th, 2023. Welcome to Old Home Day here at Dracut. We are at the school complex, and there are hundreds of people here today, and they're all around looking at all the different crafts and things, and I mean, we're really roaring to go here. It's a special edition. It looks like it's going to be a pretty good day. We just got some blue skies. Thank you. Right? And
it's always sunny in Dracut.
I'm here with our usual cast of characters here, and with us today is Phil Thibault, our resident architect from Dracut, and he is one of the best guys here in town. And how are you feeling today?
Oh, wonderful. It's turning out to be a beautiful day. I did a couple of laps around the fairgrounds. I didn't do any laps for the 5K.
No.
If I was walking that, I'd still be walking.
I saw you walking earlier coming up here, Phil. So
we're
kind of getting a feel for the route.
I actually was on the radio with Warren Shaw, WCAP, Saturday morning. So I parked my car in the lot, did the show, and then I walked down to Dunkin' Donuts for some coffee. Figured I have a good parking space, I'm not going to lose it.
Yeah. Well, I was lucky enough to get a close space, but I parked in front of the high school there. But we also have with us today our Teflon Don of Dracut Access Television, Mr. Gordy Scott. Hi, Gordy.
Hey, John.
How's it going?
It's great to be here. Look at the skies.
It's been a great
just
day,
opened
huh?
up. We started the show, and all of a sudden, the skies just opened up. Blue sky everywhere.
But nobody watches us.
No.
But nobody watches
I've got a
this
lot
show.
of phone calls based on our last show, John. So
Yeah.
You were on fire last show, I have to say.
Well, you know, we had a good guest that day too. I mean,
Yeah.
she was giving us pushback.
We'd like to
which is
thank
good.
Allison for coming on the show, having a great conversation.
We're going to have her back again, and many football players should be happy for this show because we did a good job of promoting what was going on there.
I like the new banner.
You like the banner,
Yeah.
huh? Can you see that banner on our
Yes, I'm
show?
watching it live.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, compliments of John Zimini Enterprises.
Okay.
This show costs me nothing but aggravation and money. But
you're doing a good thing.
Well, we are. We keep trying to do it as long as we can feel like we're accomplishing something, right? So we also have with us our ace reporter, our #1 Cub reporter.
Oh, gosh.
One of the best guys around for his age, anyways.
Wow, backhanded compliments.
Richard
That's all we have,
Silvio.
ladies and gentlemen. Hey,
Richard.
John, how are you?
I'm doing great. How
Good.
about yourself?
They upgraded me to a Bob Barker style microphone.
Yeah.
I did quite a few laps earlier today.
Yeah.
Spoke to a lot of good booths. We have a great clip coming up later
Got
on.
a good clip, Richard and his crew. And who's out of your crew?
My crew's fantastic. We have Mrs. Michelle Davis
Yeah.
of Lowell. She's also a member of the American Legion Auxiliaries.
Yeah.
And we also have my favorite Polish person.
Wait a
Besides
minute.
you, John.
Wait a
Besides-
minute. Wait a minute. I
Besides
gotta
you,
be your
John.
first Polish person.
You know what she says? She says half of her is Polish, the other half is smart.
Oh, God.
Miss Joanne Sakalinski. So,
Let's hear it for Joanne.
So let's hear it for Joanne. Let's hear it for our new crew members. That's good.
Absolutely.
We're expanding, folks. But we have a great show here today for you. We have some people coming on in a couple of minutes that are interested in Murphy Farm. They're organized very well, and Phil's going to lead that discussion. But we're bringing you information that you get nowhere else, right? Right, Phil? We try our best. We're live on Facebook also, and you can also catch us by doing YouTube.
oh, wow.
Big
That's
win.
okay. That's
Oh.
okay. And YouTube, right?
Yes.
So
Yep.
what do we do with YouTube, Gordy?
So YouTube, just go to YouTube, type in What's Happening Dracut. You'll get all of our previous episodes. You can watch. If you missed one of our shows, you can go back and watch, or you can catch them on DracutTV.org on the streaming.
Yeah, that's awesome, huh? So without any further ado, we're going to bring on our first guest. And I'm going to have Phil Thibault, resident good guy,
Yeah, so
introduce.
So we have Michelle Bormister that's coming on.
You can stay on set.
Sure.
Yep.
Just clip this onto
why
your
don't you sit down, Michelle?
All right, thank you.
Just clip that onto your collar, and people will be able to hear you.
Give him the mic, maybe. I can
Sure,
hand
here.
it to him. And then you can grab it back. All right, go
All
ahead,
right.
Phil.
Thank you,
Can you
Michelle,
hear
for
me
coming
now?
on. We've
Thank you for
been
having
trying
us.
to
We've been going
coordinate
back
this
and
for
forth.
quite a while, and I know Wednesdays are difficult for you. And
I was taking a class, and
yeah.
then I was moving my daughter back at Siena College.
oh,
and
jeez, that's
so now we're here.
now we're here.
We're here.
We're here, and we're ready for Dracut.
We are.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about the CARD group, how it got started and what's been going on?
Okay, so CARD is actually a group of members, of neighbors actually. That's how we initially got started. We formed when we first heard about this development coming in, where...
give you a little on-screen point. We're actually talking to this camera.
Thank you. That one? I was talking over here. I don't know. Sorry. Thank you for adjusting me.
I had to look to adjust myself too. So.
But it initially started when we became aware of a 40B proposal that was going in for a neighborhood right around ours. Originally, it was 22 single-family homes because that's what it meant for zoning requirements in that area.
That was approved through the planning board.
Exactly, through regular channels. So the developer stripped all the loam from the land, sold it, left it dormant, and then he applied for a 40B affordable housing development that is now 300 4-bedroom rental units over 47 buildings.
Wow.
So this really isn't just a neighborhood issue. I know people are calling us NIMBYs out there, but this is so big, the sheer size of this, it's really going to affect all of Dracut. And we're here today because we wanted to bring awareness about this development so that people know. I mean, it's funny how Ed and I, this is Ed Picos, he's in our group. It's amazing to me that people just don't know. They don't know what's coming right down the road, right from them.
That's a big problem everywhere in Dracut. That I wouldn't necessarily call it a transient population, but people are so.
People have their heads.
They
to
have
a
their
grindstone.
lives,
they have their
and
lives.
their families.
They're busy.
That can make it very difficult.
And that's why we're here today, is to kind of spread the word, get the word out there, gain some support. We actually have a lot of support already. We have a Facebook out there, a Facebook group, Citizens Against Reckless Development in Dracut. And it has, last time I checked, about 635 members.
Wow.
And then we have an email chain that we have going on. So some people on social media, we reach out to people that way. We have about another 125 or so there.
Yep.
And then today, it's just been wonderful. The support that we've had, the conversations that we've had, it's really early on in the day. It's amazing me that that's what surprised me, is that all these people just don't know.
Right.
So I'm glad we are here to kind of get the word out there.
Yeah, so one thing I would like to mention is, as far as the developer, Kevin O'Brien, introducing it as a 40B, is that with the approval of the planning board, he had actually wait a year before he could convert it to a 40B.
Correct.
And so he waited that year. He waited
the year.
Essentially, he waited the town out.
Took the topsoil off,
Yep.
sold it,
So
and then...
I think that goes to a lot to identifying his intent of why he's doing this 40B.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's going to line his pockets because this project is not good for Dracut. Based on the May Tri-Board meeting that we had all watched, the town projected that with this development, the town would be in upwards of a $7.3 million deficit.
Wow.
And that would be because with the rental units being four bedrooms, you're inviting families in, right? So the Campbell School already has the statement of interest going on for it. It's already maxed. The Greenmont is maxed. They, in that meeting, said that they would have to build a school the size of the Greenmont to just accommodate the influx of students that would be coming in.
So
and that's at conservative estimate, they said 50 million.
Yeah, so there's actually a feasibility study that was authorized back in last June.
Last June.
For the Campbell and Greenmont School.
Yep.
That process is actually starting on Wednesday with the building committee.
Right.
So they're finally going to meet with.
But there's going to be a lag if this development goes
through. So there is a lag.
There's a lag.
Before you get a school even under construction, we're looking at 2 years.
Exactly.
And then it's probably a 2 or 3 year process for construction. So from this date, you don't see a school for at least 5 or 6 years.
Yeah. In the interim, now you're looking at modular housing.
That would be
the
only way they
modular
could
schools.
do it, I suppose,
So they're going to have to bring in those.
Yeah.
They're going to have to add bus routes. It's projected that they're going to need another fire station around that area with a new ladder truck, a pumper, new police sector for that side of town.
It certainly,
DPW. I mean, it just runs up the tally.
Right. Well, when I first moved to Dracut, I lived on Scott Street, which is off of Salem Road. So I was an East Dracut resident. Now I'm right in Central, right down the street from the town hall. But I'm glad to see that East Dracut is awake and alive and ready to
We're
battle.
awakening Dracut,
Yeah.
right, Ed?
Yeah.
We're getting everybody on board.
Yes, because it's very, very important that you stay active within the community, not only on this subject, but on a lot of different subjects. Many of the issues that come up, people don't even hear about because they don't watch. They're too busy in their lives.
Busy
but they
in their
don't, there's no
day-to-day.
newspaper anymore,
Exactly.
and they don't have any kind of a way of getting to find out what's going on.
We love Dracut. I moved to Dracut just for that whole farm feel.
How long have you been here?
30 years.
30, and I've been here about 30 too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I've lived in Paddock Lane,
Okay.
which is right by where this development's going in. So I am directly going to be impacted by the traffic that's going to be coming through. You figure 2.5 average cars on 300 units, you're looking at travel of 700 to 800 cars cutting through little neighborhoods.
That's certainly a big issue with traffic.
It's a huge
because
issue.
You have Methuen Road. It's Methuen Road.
Yep.
Oh no, excuse me,
Wheeler Road.
Wheeler Road. That is varied width, but its average is probably 25 feet of pavement.
Right.
Yeah, you can't. I walk my dog all the time, and
There's
on
no
Wheeler
sidewalks.
Road, you cannot have two cars passing at the same time and walk with my own dog and me
Right.
at the same time. You have to wait for somebody to go first, and then they go, and then I can just keep walking. It's scary.
Phil,
Yeah.
I'll ask you this: is there any way that a developer can give some investment back to the town by widening some of those streets?
They're not. The state does not mandate that the developer pay for any of that. That comes from Dracut. And do I think this developer is going to take money out of his pocket
Yeah.
and say, here you go, Dracut? I don't think that's happening.
Yeah. Can the zoning board ask them as a condition?
So the zoning board can put conditions, now you're starting to get into a gray area.
Yeah.
They can't put conditions that would make the project infeasible.
Like
Economically-
uneconomical to the
Economically
developer.
economically constrained.
So,
yeah, I get it.
but a caveat to that is that as soon as he claims that it's being made uneconomical, that opens up his books to the town.
And that
Right.
might
So
not
he
be a
has to-
bad thing.
That would not be a bad thing.
Because-
typically in the past, 40Bs have had to provide a pro forma to the town to show what the monies were, where they were going, what the projected revenues are, and what the profit rate is, because it's a limited profit corporation that he has to create. So knowing those numbers certainly is helpful.
Yeah. So we're talking about a project with over 300 units, or approximately
300
rental units.
300 rental units right now.
All right. So, and majority will be 4-bedroom.
All
of them.
All are scheduled 4-bedroom.
Yeah.
So I had talked with Allison Mnuchin earlier in the week. I had a project I had to go down to in Duxbury
Yep.
called Indian Creek Village. They have 320 units in that apartment complex, and it's a company that does a lot of affordable housing. Indian Creek is actually on 87 acres. And it gives you a different feel because there's a lot of green space. You space out the buildings. So I mean,
But
this
he's
is
taking
50
up
acres.
he's
50
taking up
acres,
every piece of it.
and he's putting nearly identical the same buildings. And I think he's proposing larger units than this development in Duxbury. So the management in Duxbury was just kind of dumbfounded when I told them everything is going to be 4-bedroom too, and you could have knocked them over with a feather. He said, logistically, it doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
So,
It just doesn't work for Dracut at all. Go ahead, sorry.
So my group has been reviewing the site plan, the builder's site plan, and not only is this a lot less than 87 acres, it's 50 acres. 45 of the acres are buildable, and as Michelle said, there's 47 buildings going on those 45 acres. A lot of the roads are narrow one-way roads in East Dracut, which is hard to believe. And the parking is hard to fathom. Michelle mentioned 2.5 parking spots per
raise your
unit.
mic up a little bit and say-
Sorry.
Yeah.
He's actually proposing 2 parking spots per unit. there's no visitor parking. He has a pool area that has no parking at all. It's jammed onto these, 47 buildings are jammed onto these 45 acres.
He's maximizing every inch he can get.
Oh, he is.
Well, that's what developers need to do to make a profit. Yeah.
To be honest, I wouldn't call it maximizing. I would call it overburdening.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
You're too nice.
Overreaching.
Oh, way overreaching. So, out of those units, how much taxes will be realized if it comes through over the course of the 3-year build?
So it would be taxed at the typical commercial rate, which is identical to the residential in town.
Right.
So if it's a project that is $100 million worth of construction, and I think that might be in the range that it is, we have a tax rate of
11.58.
Is 11.58 per thousand? So you end up with 1.2 million dollars.
Wow. Just to break in here, we've got some comments on here. Gordy, if once in a while we can just break in and talk about some. I'm going to mention my good friend Trevor Currier, he's a staunch politician and conservative who lives in Middleton.
And we've had him on our show.
And he's also on the school committee at Masconomet Regional Vocational School, a regional school system. It's a great place for him. And he made a comment that 40Bs are ruining the state. A big one is trying to get into Middleton, right in the downtown area near 114. But Phil, there's not much you can do to stop it other than making everybody aware, and then putting the constraints at the ZBA, right?
So certainly stopping it is very difficult. Influencing it is another
right.
issue. And
Mitigating it.
Yeah.
And there's ways you can do that. And it may not be done at the ZBA level, like we'll see what comes out of there, and then we hired our own counsel, and we'll take it from there.
So you plan on appealing a decision, obviously, if the ZBA approves it, which I think the ZBA is almost hamstrung.
They
right?
feel like they're hamstrung.
Yes, I think they've been told by the developer that they're hamstrung, and
Exactly.
there's nothing they can do about it.
Were you at the last time?
To be honest, I was
public
not.
hearing?
I was not at the public hearing, but I did get to watch it.
I did too. I was on vacation, and I'm like, figures, this is happening, and you plan the party and you can't go. I'm like, oh. But I watched it back, and I was, oh my, their lawyers were just jamming this down, like, hey, you know what? I'll just go to the state.
And kind of flaunting it.
You know what, seriously though, if the application, which we hear was very deficient, our counsel was saying, if it was close, yeah, you would accept it because you don't want to obstruct an open meeting hearing, right? So absolutely this was deficient, and
well,
they should not
Brian
have,
Lucier,
they
a
should
member
not
of
have
the
accepted it,
ZBA,
and now it
Brian had said that he had seen better applications for a variance on a garage.
Yes.
Oh, God.
So
Brian would be an expert in that field.
He would be.
For sure. John McDonough, our good friend over from Lowell, and from City Life on Lowell, who airs in the morning, both on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I got to give him a plug because he made a comment. He airs in the morning on Lowell and Dracut Access and other communities at 6 a.m. But he asked, does each unit have 2 bathrooms? He's a bathroom guy.
I know he's a bathroom guy.
Ed, do you know? I don't know.
They do, as a matter of fact, yep.
They have 2 bathrooms in each?
I'm trying to think if it's 2 full bathrooms or a bath and a half.
Wow.
I'm not sure, but there are 2 bathrooms, yep.
Okay.
That was an interesting question.
Yeah, that was good.
That's very good.
That's John for you.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions there? Is anybody else online giving any questions?
No, just Sean Kelly reached out and said, hope the weather's good back home. He's in Vegas right now.
He's in Vegas, so we would have had another show.
Well, I don't know if you saw, Trevor had another comment that 4 bedrooms is very unusual, which is true.
It's true.
He's
so
trying
that
to maximize the rent.
Yeah, so that development down in Duxbury, I'll just keep going I'll go to that because they're very comparable. It's a mix of 1, 2s, and 3s. I don't believe they have any 4-bedroom units. So again, it just goes to the intent of what the developer is trying to do here.
Yeah.
By the way, you've come to the right show because we have a reach that's getting enormous now, not only on cable television but on Facebook. We had over 70,000 hits on our last reaches on our last show, and in the last 28 days we've gone bust on it. We've been around a while. But you're on our 56th show.
All right.
People say they don't
It's a
watch
lucky
us,
number.
but they watch
I'm
us.
going to go play that. 56.
But I think that Gordy has a couple of questions to ask you also. So
Yeah,
let's
so
go, Gordy.
I was just looking up at the National Multifamily Housing Council, MFHC, and I was looking at their statistics that they have for these kinds of developments for apartments, and actually their statistics a little differ from what you guys are saying. So they say the children per 100 apartments households is 33.9 students is actually children, and the school-age children is only 21 per 100 units. So if that's true, if those stats are true, that would mean there would be 64 school-age children at full capacity. And Dracut's at 88% enrollment in the public schools, so that would be an additional 56 students. Again, this is just one view of, I'm just taking the stats off the NMHC. And also they show about the vehicles. 80% of the apartment complexes have 1 or 2 vehicles. So if they were full capacity, that would mean about 600 new vehicles. Wow. So that definitely is a definite issue. But as far as the children, it would according to their statistics, it would only be 56 new students.
We are live here at Dracut Old Home Day, and we've got all kinds of people. If you see me waving, I'm not trying to be rude, but people are going by and I'm trying to wave at them and say hello, what have you. But we're here and we have a guest with us today, a member of the Citizens Against Reckless Development here in Dracut, and we have 2 guests, and we're trying to go over some of the stuff that's going on. So with 600 new automobiles coming into town,
I would say a minimum of that.
I think it's minimum.
He's
Yeah.
got 600 parking spaces.
okay. Are they
But
good?
yeah,
Which,
right?
when you think of it, if they really are 4-bedroom units, that's a pretty low number of parking. I mean, I have a 4-bedroom home, and I couldn't get by with two
No.
parking
And
spots.
you got to think about who's going to be renting these apartments. Is it going to be someone going to UMass Lowell? Four separate people that are going to school in UMass Lowell, and they're splitting the rent.
And
or
that
is it
could be
gonna
a possibility, right?
And if
then
that's
that's
the case,
4 cars.
that's at least 4 cars.
You're going to need 4 cars, so
Okay.
in that case, that wouldn't work for them if they've only got 2 spots.
It's a
right?
location
When
that
you
you need a
have-
car. You need a car in that
Right.
location,
There's
no matter
nothing-
what,
yeah.
because there's nothing around
Or
there.
There's nothing
unless you're
there.
Ubering everywhere.
I should mention this too. So there's 600 parking spaces. They're in front of the buildings on both sides of the street. So think of that, right? You have that many parking spaces, and there's going to be people backing out constantly. How safe is that for kids riding their bikes or whatever?
Not to mention that it abuts a quarry,
Yeah.
and there's a federal pipeline going through there too. So
What does
a lot
it
of
do
safety
to our
issues.
capacity for sewer?
So it's going to Methuen, I
Methuen.
believe. So I believe Methuen
But they
is,
also have to get permitted through Methuen.
yeah.
Right.
So I'm not sure what
In
the
which
full
I'm hearing, and
capacity
nothing's
is.
been done yet
Yeah.
on that
so
end.
both sewer and water would be provided by an intermunicipal agreement with Methuen.
Right.
And I haven't really heard anything about that
yeah.
myself.
Now,
Nothing's
you have
been
more
done there yet.
statistics? Gordy, you
So
wanna-
as far as the kids go, I mean, I'll certainly check with this project down in Duxbury, which would seem to be a very comparable, and I'll ask that management company what the children population is. And so, I mean, that would give us a
But the revenue coming in from those buildings, from the farm, would still leave us a deficit over $200,000. So even at the low number of 56 students.
Did you say $200,000?
Yeah, that's based on my numbers, that the research I did.
based
Right.
on numbers, I think, for educating the children through the
Correct.
school.
It's
But that's-
14,000.
That's
per-
But
not
that's
the
still not-
building. That's not.
But that's still
what's
not
needed.
getting into town services or
Correct.
anything like
Correct.
that. So
Okay. I was
the-
like,
the-
wait,
the
it's
deficit
a lot more
is
than that.
much greater than
Yes.
that.
Joe Dion has weighed in online, and he's saying that should have let them build the 22 houses. Really shot yourself in the foot, supposedly.
They
the
have
town.
the approval.
They
for
had the
22.
approval for
So, yeah.
22
As a matter of fact, I
acres.
think the approval is still valid.
It's still valid, still
So
there.
why can they have 2 proposals on the same
Because
property?
if a developer decides he wants to do a 40B,
He can shift.
he'd have to leave that, he could stop, leave it for a period of 12 months, and then he can go apply. And that's exactly what this guy did.
He did. Wow.
He had approved 22 homes.
He had an
and it
approval
fit
for
right within the zoning that right between the neighborhoods, they're
That
cul-de-sacs.
makes a lot more sense.
And it's zoned appropriately for 22-acre
Was there
homes.
pushback from the neighborhood on that issue?
I'm sorry.
Was there pushback from the neighborhood for that?
No, it went through the proper channels. Went through the board,
Yeah.
the planning board.
But this is obviously
This is
a
not
very
the-
emotional issue for a lot of
Oh,
people in that
absolutely.
neighborhood now.
Absolutely.
And we should mention that our group, and I think everybody, we don't have a problem with affordable housing at all. And, you know, the builder, he's going to get something in there. We're just trying to make it reasonable for the town. And the way it's proposed right now is very unreasonable.
But will you agree that people have a misconception of what affordable is versus what low income is?
So this is 40B is affordable housing. It's not low income.
Right.
And how they determine the rents is they take 80% of the median income in the area, right?
Right.
So they're thinking that this rent for the affordable unit is going to start around $2,400.
So Gordy has some statistics on that, right? On the
course you do.
affordableness of the, didn't you do some
I
work?
did not know.
You did? All right, well, I thought I saw something in that text.
So
the average
There's rental units out there in Dracut that are much more affordable than what this is going to go in at.
So the average, I think, is going to be around $2,500 a unit.
Exactly. And then
Based
the
on
developer then can decide whatever rates he wants, but he's limited financially.
Correct. He's only allowed to make
so much money
a
on
percentage. I think
But
it
they
might
figure
be, I think it might be
35
10%
Yeah.
with apartments.
it. So we would think at $2,400 based on the median income is affordable. That would be 75 units, and then 225 at market value, market rate,
Market rate from
which
what
could be
I
anywhere like 3,500 is what I'm hearing.
I heard that would be the upper end.
Yep.
In
about
his
3,500.
application, it's 3,700 and change. That's in his application.
I had a text from my lovely wife, and she said, the sign is flapping around behind you, and you should have tied it down. You're right, honey, I should have, but we didn't have enough time to do it.
It was
But
the wind. There was no
weather
wind.
was
when-
There was no
yeah.
wind then, yeah.
Before we put the show on, there was no wind. Now there's some wind. But to get back into this, how many units will actually be affordable?
75.
75. So 225 are going to be
Market rate.
Market rate.
And that market rate will be close to $4,000, I would imagine.
3,600.
Upwards, I'd say 3,500.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
and the market for that,
I know.
Is
Yeah,
there a-
where's the market for
and there's
4
no,
bedrooms? There
there's
really
no
isn't.
nothing around there either.
So you're talking how many people in that particular area will go into that? If you have 4 bedrooms, it's four per unit, you would think, at least, maybe more,
What do you mean
for
by-
individuals living in each unit.
You'd have to. You think at least 4 people,
At
if
least
not more.
4 times, 300.
Right.
Times
1,200
300.
people
1,200
minimum.
people.
It's like
We'd
a
have
lit-
to
it's
have
like a
whole
little city
voting site for that.
on top of a
Oh
little
no!
farm.
Yeah.
For voting, they'll make them come here to the Richardson.
Yeah, right, exactly, exactly. They'll disenfranchise
Yeah.
that whole 1,200 because they won't have control over them. But I'm trying to think out loud here.
So, well, Gordy and I were having a little discussion about economic development and what does that mean for Murphy Farm. And I don't think Dracut receives it's minimal economic development from it because those people are on the Methuen border.
They're on the
And
Methuen
if
Going
they're
to
border.
going to
Methuen
go,
rather
if they're
than-
going
not
to go
gonna go
grocery
in the
shopping,
inroads.
they're going to the Market Basket in Methuen. They're going to the Loop. They're going.
There literally is nothing,
there isn't.
nothing
They're not-
around
They're
there.
not going to come in this.
Or the
direction.
mall. They'll go
They're
up
not
to the
coming
mall.
in.
They're going to go up
Dracut.
93 to the mall, to Salem.
Is there any economic or any commercial component to this development? Like, are there going to be any shops or anything within that
No.
unit? No. So somebody get down on 110 and build a couple of shops.
No, we don't want that either.
Oh no, you don't. But that's a commercial
But
area.
again,
yeah.
but again, it's not a shop that people will walk to. So
Yeah.
now you're relying on all this traffic, and that thoroughfare is very much a
That-
drive-through.
you know what, it's
You're
scary.
getting from Lawrence to Lowell. That you're not stopping in between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how many accidents happen along 110 and 113?
Oh,
I know
yeah,
you do
bad.
because you live right near there, right?
Very
so
bad.
every time I drive from 93 to get off my exit, going by Hickory Hill, I take a deep breath because I'm like, here we
White
go.
knuckle the whole
Oh,
way.
that one. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I put on my light just as I'm going
Especially
by
that
Hickory
Salem
Hill.
Street turn is
and I'm
is
like
tight.
pumping my brakes so my lights are like showing. But you really have to hope that there's nobody coming the other way so
Right.
you could just like jot over. Because how many people get jammed, even on 110? Same thing. At least you have like where Brigham Ave is. You have that little outlet road. You don't
I
have
used to go
that.
running on 110.
Oh,
and
you're
my
crazy.
wife said, "You're crazy."
Crazy, jeez.
I said, "Oh, why?" When we first moved here, I'm like, "Oh, then you see all the accidents."
Yeah.
You're like, "Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not going to run out there anymore."
So why don't you give the folks out in TV land here that are live on Facebook, and also this will be reshown, how they can get in touch with you if they need to.
So there's a few different ways that you could reach out to us. I'm Michelle Bormeister. I'm the spokeswoman, spokesperson for CARD. You can reach us on our Facebook page, which is Citizens Against Reckless Development in Dracut. You can reach out to our website. I created a website for us. It's CARD, CARDD.org. You can reach out that way to us, and then there's a space where you could drop us a line.
If you want
Put
to get
out
involved,
questions, want to get involved. Yes, so
You have a meeting coming up this
we do.
Monday.
September 11th. We're asking for anybody who's new coming on board to show up a little early so that we can get you up to speed, because we've all been doing this for the last 6 months, and we love having new people come on board, but sometimes the questions, it's kind of, we don't want to move backward to move forward. We want to get these people up to speed, so show up a little early.
How many people are on your in your committee right now? The overall
Question.
We have probably that show up to every meeting. I would say a solid 50.
That's good.
And then
From what I've
it
seen.
fluctuates. You know, sometimes when we just had the project approved by eligibility for the state, that was a big meeting. There were a lot. So it depends.
And I think the
but
public hearing, there were almost 400,
400
500
people.
there.
Wow.
So the word is getting out there, and that's why we're here today. Is like you said, people have got their heads to the grindstone. They're busy in their daily lives, but this is something that all of Dracut needs to be aware of. It's not just a NIMBY thing. It's really, it's coming for everybody, and it's going to affect everybody.
Gordy, you have anything
So
else?
yeah,
No, it sounds good.
website card.org or Facebook Citizens Against Reckless Development in Dracut. We brought on our own council. Always happy for some financial support. You can.
And certainly you can contact us at What's Happening Dracut, and we can get you pointed in the right direction.
Get them pointed in the right way.
Exactly. So people are finding us. You're seeing our signs pop up around town. QR code brings you right to our website. So
Okay, do you have anything else you want to add shortly or whatever? We want to.
Oh.
Go ahead.
public hearing,
Yes.
Oh yeah.
September 21st. Be there.
Yeah.
Dracut High School Auditorium.
So keep in contact with Phil, and he can post it on our website.
Oh, I will.
What's Happening Dracut? We have
Okay, thank you.
3,200, approaching 3,300 people.
Well, you have more people than I do.
We have a lot of people over there.
So that's going to help get our word out.
But yeah, absolutely. So thank you again for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, you're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
You're
Just so that we
absolutely
can
welcome.
keep the drums rolling
Glad we
and
could
get
help.
everybody on board.
If you want to come back again, just reach out to Phil. We'll have you back as things get closer, and we're going to pay attention to this issue along with your hearings and what have you.
Yeah, we like
Thanks.
to keep the community up to date with what's going on.
Absolutely.
In a minute, we're gonna switch out. So we need Richard to come in. Richard, we need you.
Richard,
And
you
we'll
need
bring
your
Tony in.
little,
You guys
need
can
your
switch
microphone
out.
back.
This is live
Thank you.
TV, folks. So
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
guys.
come on in. And we have. Thank you again.
No, thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Totally appreciate it.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you. Thank you. Great job. Thanks again. We have Tony Archinsky here in the wings. Come on, select person. Selectman Tony Archinsky.
I told
come
him
on
he
in.
couldn't escape.
What do I have to do? Stand behind you?
You know,
can-
why don't you stand up and let Tony sit?
Okay,
let
here.
the elderly guy sit.
Yeah.
Take a seat. Go ahead.
You give him the
Oh,
mic.
live TV, ladies and gentlemen.
This is live TV, folks. Tony Archinsky is one of Dracut's finest select persons here. Currently serving
there.
in his fourth term, Tony, I think.
Yes. Yep.
Fourth term.
Fourth term because experience matters.
That's
You could have helped me with this.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm so sorry, Mr.
Turn his
Archinsky.
mic around so it's facing up.
Yeah, you have to be up.
Hold this for a second, Phil.
You can twist the mic.
I'll do the makeup. It's okay.
Okay, so Tony Archinsky is a selectman here in town. Been for quite a while. And Tony, what's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm enjoying the day. Plenty of people here, and I don't want to leave here without telling people how easy it is to park. If you go in through the back of the loci, you come right down whatever that street is, not Litchfield, but the next one, and you go right onto the complex. Plenty of parking, and it was very easy for an old buck like me.
Yeah, I was kind of amazed because a few years back, if you tried to come here, it wasn't really as well organized as it is now, but it's very organized, and they got signage, and yeah, right. I came in, I left and came back, and I got a parking space with no problem.
Yeah, this is just a great community event. Somebody was saying, what, 20 some odd years?
20, I believe this is the 22nd.
How many people average come to this, do you know?
I don't know.
I think a couple of years, before COVID, it was 15,000.
Wow.
Wow,
So,
15,000.
15,000 people.
Yeah. So Tony, what's happening in town that we need to know about?
Well, I think Michelle probably just filled you in on a lot of the things that have happened on the east side of town, and we're in collaboration with the COG people. I've attended all of their meetings, and I think I'm not going to take any credit for it, but
but you've been
myself, like everybody else, does not think that this is a good project for the town.
Right.
And my biggest problem is that I don't like the defeatist attitude. There's nothing we can do. This project is so large in comparison to anything else that I've seen in the Commonwealth, and the devastation that it will cause this town. We've got to really get together, and I think the COD people have a good handle on some of the issues. They're not going to get up there at the meetings and speak emotionally. I don't want this in my backyard. They're going to present the zoning bylaw committee with facts, and there's a lot of facts. In fact, I think they have about 17 pages of facts. So, we don't want to hear that it's going to overcrowd the schools. We want to know how many people it's going to overcrowd the schools by. So I'm very impressed with the COD committee people and how thorough they are, and their research on a lot of the facts that this project is.
So Tony, you and Phil, I believe, have been there from the inception.
Yes, absolutely.
Is there any other selectmen that go to those meetings?
Heather comes when she can, and Jennifer was there, I think, one meeting. There's a couple of us. But as you know, I actually had a little bit of experience. I stopped the 40B in my own neighborhood many years ago, which actually catapulted me into my political career.
There you go.
There was a builder that wanted to put 44 houses on 20 acres, and we had just gone to 1 acre zoning. And my wife and I walked around the perimeter of the area, and the next thing you know, we had 300 neighbors and people coming out of the woodwork, and environmentalists and people that were going to study, wildlife and this, that, and the other thing. And luckily for us, the builder decided to pull out and just did 1 house per acre, and it's a beautiful neighborhood now up on Quail Run, up in Collinsville. So
you're a pretty active selectman here. I know you spend a lot of Saturdays going over issues.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
And as having been a former selectman for 9 years, and we served for a short period of time together, and it's not an easy job.
No.
What's going on with zoning? There's a big issue in zoning, and I'm hearing that the chair of your board is asking to expand the reach and approval reach of the Board of Selectmen. That to me, and that's not coming from you, it's coming from me, that to me is insane.
Well, I guess the first thing you have to do is you got to look at what other towns are doing.
Right.
And so the biggest thing is, which special permits should come before the Board of Selectmen. And quite frankly, most of the towns, none of them do.
Yeah.
And so I think at the last zoning meeting that we were at, I saw a long list of special permits that would now come before the Board of Selectmen if all these changes happen. And it was things like hotels and motels, and quite frankly, I don't have the expertise to sit down and look at a hotel that's going to come into town, or things like that. So I mean, you know, liquor licenses, I can see,
Yes.
you know, a liquor license comes to the Board of Selectmen, but on the other hand, I wouldn't want to have to oversee the special permit of somebody building a restaurant just because we issue the special permit for the liquor license.
It brings too much politics into it because you have to get reelected, and when a neighborhood, you can stand up and be in favor of a neighborhood that. Yeah, if you're in a neighborhood, it's inherent that you're not going to want big development, right?
Right.
Nobody wants a liquor store next to their house, but the good of the community has to be taken into place, and that's why you have a citizen board that makes those decisions and not the politics.
Yeah, absolutely, and they also have more expertise, John.
Right.
I mean, you know, once you sit on the planning board, and that, you know, that's one of my biggest regrets is that I did not sit on the planning board before I became a selectman. So it was a steep learning curve. I can remember somebody talking about a builder is going to do this by right, and I was saying to myself, what does by right mean? What does by right mean? Well, by right means that if it's zoned for that, he has a right to build anything within that zone, you know?
Right.
You know, I would much rather defer, especially heavy duty things, to the planning board. And quite frankly, I don't think we should be adding workload to the Board of Selectmen. And I expressed that at the last meeting.
Why aren't those workshops on TV?
I don't know. I don't. I'm not in charge of deciding what gets televised and what doesn't. I just show up when I'm told to.
Would you ask why they're not on and see?
Sure.
We should be. People should be seeing what you guys are doing.
Well, you know, I mean, you know, they are open meetings. They do fall under open meeting law and all that stuff. So there's nothing preventing you from being a member of DATV to see why it is that they won't come or they're not coming.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's more in your
Good
your court
deflection
than mine.
there, Mr. Politician. Good deflection. But you see, we're under an agreement with the town at DATV, and the town is, if they don't want it to be shown, they're in charge of their content. We're not.
So the town, essentially through the Board of Selectmen, have control over the government channel.
I see.
So they control the content on
I
that
see.
channel.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I would implore the chairperson, in the good faith effort to present transparency, that meetings like that should be televised.
Sure.
Because you have a lot of people that are shut-ins that don't want to go down to town hall, busy lives, and if they can watch something on TV that's important to them, that's important. What's the next phase once you guys set the guidelines on the new policies for zoning? Or change zoning. Where does it go?
Well, you know, we have a meeting scheduled before the Selectmen's meeting this Tuesday night, where we'll hash out some of these things. And you know, I mean, I think once that happens, I think they'll be fashioned into some type of explanation. I mean, you know, they're going to do community outreach. They're going to put things on. You know, they're going to send postcards so that people can be involved, and so there's a lot of effort right now being made to at least inform the public, because as you know, a lot of the things that we tried to do with the zoning bylaws, you know, were shot down because a lot of people don't quite understand it. I didn't even understand it.
No. People will naturally vote against something if they don't understand.
If they don't understand it, and I think maybe we bit off more than we could chew, because there's a lot of things. I mean, you know, the building inspector, Dan, you know, he's been talking about, you know, revising the town bylaws since I've been a selectman. Now that's 12 years. And so it's difficult for the building inspector to go out and do his job when you have conflicting bylaws and things like that. So I think that it is necessary. It's just a matter of the content and what it is that we actually...
But the end result is that town meeting will vote on these voting changes.
Yes, the end result is the town meeting will vote on it. They did. Allison Mnuchin has done a great job of codifying everything. It now looks like a document. You know, as you know, John, you were a selectman.
Yeah.
You know, somebody could get up at a town meeting and propose a zoning bylaw, and then it passes, and then it goes in this book, and you have a book with 35 pages in it, and there was no rhyme or reason to it.
Yeah.
So, you know, try to look up the noise bylaw, and there's no table of contents. You really don't have, you know, a good idea of where you're going to find it. So just codifying it was a good thing.
Right.
And so there are other things that are trying to bring, you know, other zoning issues in line with present day.
Now, you have a meeting coming up on Tuesday, right?
Yes.
Is that a full-blown meeting? I think it's not.
Yes. No, it is. Yeah.
Do you have a full-blown meeting?
Yes, we have a pre-meeting, which is the zoning bylaw review committee, and then we have a full meeting.
But you have a meeting scheduled with the joint meeting with the libraries, right? When is
yes,
that?
That's there also.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I think I got 3 agendas this week.
Yes.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. In the opening, I forgot to send condolences out to the family of Jim Nolan, who was the library trustee who passed away. We are sorry to hear that, and he was an elected member of the Board of Trustees at the library, public library, and nobody knew that he passed away. I can't even find an obituary for him.
Right, yeah, I mean, I just found that out today. I didn't know either. I got notified that we'd be replacing a vacancy, but I did not know the reason why. I mean, other than the fact that somebody that was there isn't there anymore.
Yep. Well, the family may not have wanted a public obituary, which is all good, well and good, but this is a public official. This is a person who was elected.
Sure.
There shouldn't be any secrecy as to why the vacancy happened, or you know, it's not a personal thing when you're an elected official. There's reasons for people leaving.
The town should be making the announcement.
Well, they should be at least I mean, Richard had experience. Richard, you called down to the library?
Sure, so I called the Dracut Library to find out what had happened, and Christine Muir, the director, wasn't in that day.
Yep.
So I'd spoken to the front desk secretary, and she said that there was indeed a vacancy and that somebody had passed away, but she wasn't really open to talking further about it or telling me who it was.
I mean, is it that tightly held that you don't speak unless you have permission to speak in town, that person couldn't even say the name of the person?
It's fear. It has to be fear.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
I don't see it from where I sit. Mitt Romney was like that. Mitt Romney, any of his department heads or whatever were not allowed to speak to the press until it went through his office.
I served under Mitt Romney, and I can attest to he was a horrible governor, and he's a worst senator.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But and I think Utah's going to resolve that next this coming year. The bottom line is they should be more able to speak when something like that happens. There's only, 3 members of the trustees?
It's 5 members.
5 members, so all you had to do was go look.
Right, yeah.
Who's not there?
I can't speak for the library or the staff or even to the issue, but it also brings out another thing where, as you know, John, I've been pushing for a charter review, and there's a lot of things that have happened in the last couple of weeks that beg for a charter review from the citizens. For example, replacing a school committee person that that resigns or leaves, or a selectman or whatever. That's all. It's all addressed in the charter, and I think that the charter, may need some tweaking relative to that, because the way it is now, if I get reelected in 25 and I have to leave for some reason within those 3 years, then we start the whole process all over again, or we may end up having an election, or we would end up having an election where maybe something as simple as the next runner-up gets it, and that saves the town $15,000, $20,000, $30,000
Well, I
for a new election.
agree.
So just so that you know, my next push on the board is going to be, what are we going to do for citizen input on the Charter Commission? At this point, it's out and it's being reviewed by department heads, and there hasn't even been any proposed changes. So
that's just a horrible way of doing it.
In fact, John, I think you and I sat on the last charter committee, or one or two.
Well, it wasn't really a charter commission. It was, the Board of Selectmen went through and nitpicked some of the pieces.
Okay, that was the last.
That was
the one before that. Was done by UMass Boston.
I was there.
I was on that committee.
But that wasn't really a charter commission. A really true charter commission is what you've said in the past.
Right.
Is a citizen elected commission.
Right.
And people get on there and they propose the changes, and then the voters vote on those changes.
Right.
That's what. What is it? The Declaration of Independence starts with?
I said that at the last election.
We the people, right?
So I brought that. It is a citizen's document, is what it is. It's how the citizenry wants us to perform our duties as town officials. Really.
How the citizens wish to be governed.
Right, exactly.
And that's the way it should be done.
Yeah.
But there are politicians in town, and I'm not trying to, again, put you on the spot, but there are politicians in town that don't want to hear from anybody else. They just want to go with whatever the mantra is, right?
Well, I know you're not talking about me because anybody that knows me knows that my whole world is an open book, really. And I spend a lot of time on constituent services. I dedicate every Saturday morning from 8 to 12 to, a lot of times you get busy with work. So if you want the job, you got to do the job.
Right.
So sometimes I'll defer all my telephone calls during the week to Saturday morning. I return all the calls. I go out and look at what's on the agenda so that when I get up there, I know what I'm talking about.
I don't know if this is the kiss of death or not, but you ran against me. We had issues, but we've always been friends.
Sure.
We don't care what issues we've had disagree on, right?
Right.
But Heather Santiago Hutchins is also. You two are the epitome of what a citizen board of selectmen or select board should be.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you really
I
are.
appreciate that. It validates a lot of the stuff that I go through as a politician.
Yeah, it's not easy being on the short end of that stick.
Right, and I have never really thought of myself as a politician. I've always thought of myself as just somebody that is interested in government. I've always been interested in government. I always wanted to hold an elected position. However, when I was a police officer, people, you can't do that, or you better not do that. So when I retired, I took out papers and I ran. I lost my first election to you.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it was to Bobby Cox. You might have.
I topped the ticket.
Yeah, you might have topped the ticket then. And what happened was I ended up with a spreadsheet in front of me, and Bobby Cox had beat me by 100 votes. And in my mind, I'm saying, well, it wasn't actually 100 votes. It was 51 votes.
That's right.
Because if 51 people had voted my way, then I would have won.
That's right.
So
right.
that's then I was off to the races.
Right.
And I've won every election since then. And last year we were thrilled that we topped the ticket and we won in every single precinct, which just validates what I'm doing and validates my campaign
And
staff.
that shows that you're doing a good job, Tony.
How long do you think you'll do it?
I don't know. I really don't know. It gets a little tiring, but I'm at the point in my life now where I may end up with more spare time than less spare time. So,
Well, we don't want you to leave too soon. We don't want you to leave too soon, and we certainly want you to be looking to run for re-election. We need more people with independent thinking that isn't going to be sitting with the mantra. And as I say, I don't always agree with them, so I don't want to, I'm not blowing smoke here for people like you and Heather, but I know that Heather gets frustrated also.
Oh, yeah.
Next election is going to be critical. It's a turning point. I think so, Joe DeRocco has said, he's indicated, but he's done that again in the past, right, Phil?
Past 2 terms, he's indicated that he wasn't going to run.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I just know that once he was elected the last time, the very first thing out of his mouth was, "This is my last time."
Yeah.
So I don't think Joe would lie to the public, but.
Oh boy, we're not even.
We expected you to say that.
That's his political correctness statement right there. But Tony, so I just want to swing back before we end this conversation and move on and let you go and enjoy the rest of your day. We appreciate you stopping by and saying hello. For Tuesday night's meeting, the Board of Selectmen on the library trustee, and any meeting for that matter, the school board posts their agenda, but they also post the backup material online for the public to see. Why doesn't the Board of Selectmen do that?
I don't know. I've asked that question, John, and basically, the reason why we went to electronic paperwork, was to save some trees. And if you saw this week's agenda, you'd see that the agenda came in 3 different PDFs. And I think a PDF probably handles 80 pages. So you're looking at a couple of hundred pages. I don't think that. I think if you really wanted it, you could get it. But the answer that I got was that it takes up too much space on the server. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that.
Lowell does it. You can get that packet online. I mean, so it's another indication to me, and nobody can tell me otherwise, that they don't want you to know.
Well, the other answer that I got, there are things within the agenda that have people's social security numbers on them and all that, or financial data, or bank accounts and things like that. But like you say, it's public. And not only that, it's public record. I mean, if you're going to submit something to the government, you should expect it to be public. Right.
Now, I know that the board is getting a recommendation from the library but they're also meeting. I don't know what this recommendation is all about.
Yeah.
It's not a recommendation from them that who they want to serve with. It's a joint meeting, and the majority vote, whoever is picked gets picked.
Right.
Right. So I think that they're mixing up some bylaw policy on committees that are formed within the government, by the government, not
Right.
by the elected people. So, that's another form of control.
Yeah. Well, and another reason for a bylaw rewrite and a zoning bylaw rewrite and a charter rewrite and all of that.
By the way, I don't disagree with committees that you and the manager appoint, or the town moderator appoints. That the committee that is getting the person, they should be allowed. They should be allowed to. We're getting a little distraction from some of the overly excited people.
No, actually,
in the back.
I think it's a theatrical group that's practicing, is what it is.
Okay. So, anyways, I think you're the guy that proposed that you get a recommendation for those committees. And
Yes,
that's a good
absolutely.
thing.
Yeah, because up until that point, John, we would get names and we would recommend somebody to sit on, say, the Open Space Committee and not have any conversation whatsoever with the Open Space Committee. So I said, who better to pick who they think would be a better fit for the committee than the committee themselves, and that's how we got to that point.
But in the end, as the appointing authority, you can really pick whomever you want.
Exactly.
As long as you follow
found
the
that
process.
out.
Yeah, and that has been pointed out several times.
But that's happened to you where the process wasn't followed. They just pick somebody, they don't want
I was the zoning bylaw review committee made a recommendation unanimously that they wanted me on the committee.
That's right.
And that got shot down. 3-2.
Your political nemesis and political revenge came into play, which is all well and good, but to the victor goes the spoils, Phil. And I hate to say it, but that's the way it is, right?
And I'm not here for sins of the father.
No, exactly. So on Tuesday, you'll vote for a library trustee.
Yes.
That document is public record, but we can't get that document.
Well,
until Tuesday, and they don't send the agenda out until 12 o'clock on Friday.
Right. Yep.
Town hall closes, so I can't go there and get it until Monday.
Right.
And then it's a subject of whether I'll get it or not.
Right. Yeah. And again, I'm not really sold on whether things have to be redacted, because of course, once it gets to that point, now you're paying legal to redact things, and so
you can have a secretary redact Social Security numbers. There shouldn't be Social Security numbers.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Any PII information,
Right. I have asked, and as everybody knows, I have fallen on the minority side of the board for many years now, and so we do the best we can under the circumstances.
Right. Well, I was going to put you on the spot and ask you who the candidate is, but I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to let you go. And anybody else have any questions for?
I just want to ask Tony, how is your ethics document coming? I know you brought that up several meetings about having a code of ethics.
Oh yeah,
code of conduct.
Code of conduct.
Yeah, well, that was shot down, and that may come up again as our goal for next year. You just never know.
What were the vote on that?
I believe it was 3-2.
3-2 with you and Heather voting for it.
Yes.
And the other members of the board voting against it, and that's mostly because you proposed it.
Yeah.
Right. And it amazes me that
it just goes to show you what's happening.
It's small-minded.
Right.
It's small-minded, but you have the chairman or the chairperson. There's no secret that I don't have any great.
You're not best friends.
I'm not best friends with the chairman or her husband. But the bottom line here is that she's making it worse. Here's an HR person that doesn't want to go by a code of ethic or a code of conduct on the board. I mean, I don't get it. She's supposedly, allegedly, an HR person.
But she's the first one that strikes Tony down or Heather down
She's the first
for saying
person
something
to break
out of
the
order.
rules.
Right.
She put her husband on DATV board of directors without any advertising.
I'm glad you're looking at them, because I have no comment.
Yeah, I know. Well, anyways, anybody else have anything? Richard, do you have anything you want to add?
All right,
Yeah,
well,
Tony,
listen-
what are you planning on having for lunch today? Here?
well, I don't know. I'm hoping I can find something over there. I'm sure there's
sure you
plenty,
will.
there's plenty
I'm
of
sure you
food
will.
over there.
I think my wife said you better not come home without any fried dough.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm gonna have to stop to get some fried dough. Tony, thanks a lot for stopping
Thank
by.
you very
We
much.
really
You're welcome.
appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me, and enjoy the day.
We'd love to have you back when it's quieter.
Sure.
So
Okay.
come on back anytime you're willing.
We'll do.
Have a
All right,
great
guys.
day, Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
you.
Okay, Richard, why
Thank
don't
goodness
you
my
take
feet
us?
are killing me.
Yeah, I know. But you're the youngster, so you can jump in and out. So we have a little piece that Richard did this morning, and we're going to show that now.
Yep,
So we can
one
take a little
second.
bit of break, and we'll come back. And we're going to go till about 12:30. So we'll do a full show. If everybody's good
so,
with that. So
sure.
Richard, you want to introduce?
So
excuse me, I'm
earlier
having
this
a
morning,
sneeze.
I had two wonderful volunteers, Michelle Davis and Joanne Sakalinsky, both volunteers of What's Happening Dracut. We went around before Old Home Day started. We talked to a bunch of different booths to get, their synopsis on what's going on today, what they have to offer, and we had a fun little quiz show to see how much Dracut people know about their local politics. Let's see what's happening. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the first booth we are featured at is very personal to me. This is my parish, St. Francis, who I'm very proud to be a member of. So we're going to ask one of the ladies to please step up so I can ask them a few questions. Hi, Sharon. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for stopping by.
Absolutely. So what do we have going on today?
Well, St. Francis is very special to us as well. So this is our parish. We're off of Wheeler Road in Dracut. Very welcoming and warm parish.
All right. This is my lovely assistant, Joanne. So we're going to show the first picture here. So let's show it to the camera first. All right. So can you identify this famous
We
person?
got her. Queen Elizabeth. Good.
Elizabeth. Do you know that she passed away 1 year ago yesterday?
Oh, I didn't realize that.
So now we have a part two. This is a local person. Do we know who this person is? Any guesses?
She's a politician.
Yes. Very good.
Is it Mari?
Is it who?
Mari.
No, it is not, but I'll give you a hint. Like Queen Elizabeth, she thinks that she's the Queen of Dracut.
Oh. I don't know her name. I know I've seen her in
Awful,
the
we don't
paper.
know.
This is the chairperson of your Board of Selectmen, Allison Janest.
Hi, Allison. Sorry about that, Allison. We'll have to get to learn to know her.
What Mari really looks like.
I have one more.
St. Francis. Come to St. Francis, Allison.
Yeah, get to know you.
Absolutely. Here, I have one more round of quizzes. Now we have this person. Does anybody know who this is?
Stalin.
And what was he famous for?
He was a very, very, very bad man.
So we're going to follow that same trend, God forgive me. We have another local celebrity. Does anyone know who this person is?
Is this another politician?
Yes.
I don't know.
Was he the water guy?
No. Not as important.
That was bad.
He does look familiar.
Yeah, he does.
I don't know.
I'll give one a hint.
Yeah.
So this is pretty good. Like Joseph Stalin, they don't really believe in free speech. Any guesses? They're also one of your statesmen.
Oh, man. Yeah, I know. I can't think of his name, but yeah.
This
You're
is
absolutely right, yeah.
this is the husband of Allison Janest, Brian Janest, who is on the town Republican ticket. All right, we have another booth that means a whole lot to me, the Dracut Garden Club, and Pam, the president. Of course, we work together on the Hovey Square Memorial.
That's correct. It was a lot of fun. We have 7 gardens around Dracut, so that was another one we added on there to help out with, so that was a lot of fun.
You guys are the hardest working ladies I know, really.
Thank you. It's been a challenge this year with all the rain. Let's put it that way.
So what do you guys have going on today?
Okay, well today we're having a bulb sale. Daffodil bulbs, 15 bulbs for $15. You plant them, we show you how to plant them. You can, and in the spring you'll get some beautiful daffodils. We have yellow and we have white. And we also have a raffle for scratch tickets and a beautiful mum plant. So we're in booth A6. If you want to stop by, that would be great.
All right, and then you have another event coming up, correct, on October 4th.
On October 4th, we're having a Overwintering Your Houseplant speaker. It will be on October 4th, 7 p.m. at Harmony Hall. The public is invited. It's $5 for non-club members. but it's a great way to learn how to keep your houseplants alive for the winter.
All right, well, now that I gave you a little press, you're going to do me a little favor and play a little game show.
All right, we'll play game show.
All right, we have 2 rounds.
Okay.
All right, and your ladies here can help you.
Okay.
We have a famous person. Can you identify this person? We're going to show it to the camera, and then we're going to show it to the ladies. All right, Jojo.
Oh, Queen Elizabeth.
Do you know she passed away 1 year ago yesterday?
1 year ago yesterday. I'm a royal person, so.
Are you?
Yes.
Me too, let me tell you. Now, we have the second person. This is a local person.
All right, welcome. Dracut Old Home Day 2023.
She's on the school committee. Is it Allison?
Oh, the name is correct. They are a politician, but it's not the school committee. I'll give you a hint. Like Queen Elizabeth, she thinks that she's the Queen of Dracut.
Selectman.
Yes. All right, we are at another very interesting booth. Hello, ladies. Would you like to introduce yourselves and tell us what's going on today?
I'm Kina, and I'm Aiden. We're the venturing crew. We're youth-led, and we do high adventure trips and adventures.
Now, is this open to both boys and girls, men and women?
It is. It's
okay, and if they're interested to join, how can they do that?
We have a Facebook group, and yes, and we also have an Instagram and a website.
Okay, can I see that and I'll get the camera to zoom in?
Sure.
So I understand you guys just took a very interesting trip to Iceland, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now, did you two go on that trip?
We did, yes.
And how was it?
It was super fun.
What would you say your favorite part was?
There was this one waterfall that every time you turn the corner, there was just more and more. Yeah.
Sounds beautiful.
Yes, it was.
Now, are there age limits on who can join?
So you have to be older than 14, but younger than 21.
Oh, very nice. All right, now, if you're interested, we have a little game show that you can play. The only prize, unfortunately, is honor and glory. We can't afford any real prizes. So, my lovely assistant, Joanne's going to show a picture to the camera first. We have a famous person. All right, or an infamous person, I should say. Any ideas?
No. No.
Oh, come on, Chris. Really?
No, I don't know who that is.
This is Joseph Stalin. He was the dictator. Well, not really. How can you forget the mustache? That he was the dictator of the Soviet Union, Russia, back when it was communist. Although it still is, many say. Now we have one more person. This person is more or less a dictator and serves in the town of Dracut.
Nope.
I don't know that one.
Really? That is the husband of Allison Genest, Brian Genest, who is a statesman who serves on the town Republican committee. Yeah. All right, do you have anything else you'd like to say before we head off?
If you're interested in high adventure, please reach out to us. We would love to have new members.
Richard, that was quite the thing. We're here at Old Home Day, and we are broadcasting to you live from Dracut Old Home Day, and you're watching What's Happening Dracut. So, Richard, tell us a little bit of the background on your
John,
piece.
one thing about our show that I may toot our horn quite a bit, but this one is genuine. We do everything off the cuff.
Right.
Nothing is prearranged.
Right.
Because I know for a fact they did that other show we're not going to mention did this same thing last year, and without knowing it, they interviewed my mother.
Yeah.
And when they showed a picture, do you know what they did?
What?
John McDonald pointed at the answer he wanted her to say on the paper.
Oh my goodness.
So that's all I'm saying. There was no pointing going on with this, let me tell you.
So it was purely off the cuff.
Absolutely, everything.
Maybe that's a new piece we're going to have. Man on the, our cub reporter on the street,
off the cuff. Absolutely.
You know? So that was a good piece, huh, Gordy?
Yes, it was very entertaining.
Old Home Day still goes until 5 o'clock tonight,
Yes.
so if you haven't come down now.
Yeah.
Now, one of the booths the first booth I interviewed, St. Francis, I do have a shameless plug, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
I am organizing with St. Francis in their Blessing Bag Ministry, which basically provides baskets of food to families to give them a little lift during these times of inflation and hardship. So the dance is on Friday, October 6th at 6:30 p.m. at the American Legion. There's going to be raffles, it's going to be retro music, it'll be a great time. Tickets are $20. You can either buy them today here at Old Home Day or at the St. Francis Parish office.
Can you get them at the door?
No, you cannot get them at the door.
Why
now, I'm purchasing one of these tickets, and we're going to donate it. We're going to come up with a contest to win this. So you are going to be able to win a free ticket.
Great.
We just have to arrange that.
Well, thanks a lot for that shameless plug. I have another shameless plug from Moose Borowski, who's doing a great job as an alumni of Dracut High School football. He's had meetings over the years trying to get boosters and what have. Hi, Alexa. How are you? How you doing? Who is this little guy? You want to come on and say hello? We're gonna get your mic. Come on over here.
Mic's on the ground.
So what's your name? You got the mic? Ready? Can you come on, turn around so you can look at the camera so everybody can see you.
Mommy.
Say mommy. Say hello. This is Tammy Dristolaris' and George Dristolaris' grandson. What's your name?
Grant.
Grant. How are you, Grant? You're getting so big.
Thanks.
Are you having fun today?
Yeah.
What's mommy's name?
I don't know your name.
Where's mommy? Right over there, right? Mommy is Facebook friends and friends with my daughter, Alyssa, and I always hear about the good things mommy is doing, right?
Yeah.
You going to school yet?
Yeah.
What do you have in your hand?
An airplane.
That's an airplane? Wow. Do you like going on airplanes?
Yeah.
You know what you have to tell mommy? Tell her I want a bunch of sugar.
Yeah.
Give me as much sugar as I can eat now.
Yeah.
It's already there.
All right. Nice to see you, Grant. Give me 5. Good to talk to you, buddy.
All right.
Have a great day. Go eat some sugar. All right.
Oh, John, so about Moose Morowski's event.
Yes.
I have the details here.
Go right ahead.
That the American Legion donated the hall to them free of charge, and their reasoning was Dracut helps Dracut. It's that simple. What great people they are. So Moose Morowski is hosting this event on Saturday, the 16th, from 1 to 4 p.m. Like I said, at the American Legion. Colleen Gary, your state rep, will be there. Your school committee men, Rebecca Duda and Allison Volpe are going to do their best to be there as well. So come on down, voice your concerns.
It's once again great happenings from the American Legion, how they donate their hall and their time.
They're wonderful with things like that. Wonderful.
Awesome. So Gordy, you have some stuff that related to that you wanted to talk about also. We wanted to get into a little bit about that Dracut basketball happenings. What's going on?
Yeah, so we, after our last show, I got contacted by my sports contacts within Dracut, and some of them were very upset with how the program's being run over at the school, and some of the feedback I got, it was coming from the top, from Stephen Stone. He doesn't want to have competition, wants to cut all the other schools out of the picture, so that, luckily the football team did finally do a compilation with Innovation Academy,
yes.
So they can have a football season this year. But the feedback overall has been that this issue with sports comes from the top.
Right.
So Stephen Stone, I think, needs to step up, and everyone's telling me the same thing. That's where the blame should be placed, is at the top. We had
a great response to that, and I think that we had an effect on it.
Yes.
So we've got a person here that is going to jump in. You have somebody you want to say?
No.
So we're going to check out here Rich Cowan. Come on in, Rich. Stand right between the two, and we can have a little chat. Rich Cowan is a member of the Finance Committee here in Dracut.
How you doing, John?
I'm doing great. How are you? You ran today?
I did, yeah.
How was it?
I've run, 3 out of the last 5 years.
Wow.
God bless you.
So I did good, because I needed to watch my health this year, so I did that. So I ran.
Looks like you lost a little weight.
Yeah. Well, I lost about 6 pounds. 7
that's
pounds.
good. You look good. You look good. So what's going on in Dracut? What's going on with the Finance Committee?
I believe we'll meet sometime in the middle of the month. Probably around I'm not sure of the date. I don't think it's been set yet. Mm-hmm. But I'm not the chair, so it's all being worked out. And then there's a tri-board meeting at the end of the month, and
you go over the financial issues that's going to be a town meeting in November, right?
Yes, we do. As you know, I was chair of the Finance Committee.
Right.
And the Finance Committee could do a little bit more than it does. For example, it could get involved more in long-range planning. We ask questions about that. a few years ago, we were told by Victor that he was going to get to that. He was just new. He just started. As you know, they just did get to that, and when they did, they were like, "Oh, the financial future does not look that good," because the same issues that occurred maybe 15 years ago are coming back again, where to try to meet the goals of staffing the various public safety and meeting net school spending and paying the interest on all the buildings, all the payments for the buildings they've built.
The Finance Committee's job is an important one.
It's a lot, yeah. So
it's an important job.
Yeah.
And I think that this current Finance Committee has people on there that question the numbers and do their job. They're not an arm of the manager or the Board of Selectmen or the school committee.
Yeah, I mean, when I joined the Finance Committee, there were only like 3 people, maybe only 2 people that were going to come back to it. And I was told by the town manager that, oh, people just don't want to join committees anymore. And I said, no, that's not true. People join committees if the committees are given autonomy and they're given the ability to be involved in the community and they can make a difference. And if the committee is going to be run as a rubber stamp, then sure, who wants to be a rubber stamp?
Yeah.
Maybe there's a few people who like to be that way. Maybe there's a few committees I can think of in the past in Dracut where half the committee was chosen because they would just say yes to whatever they were told to do. And honestly, that's not how Dracut is going to get its best representation. The best representation is from a committee that actually is connected to the community and asking questions and asking tough questions and trying
that's how I got my start
trying to prove the town.
That's well said. That's well said.
Yeah, John, well said. I'd like to ask Rich a question. I want to get your thoughts on the Murphy Farm. We had Michelle Bormeister on, who leads that committee. What are your thoughts?
I haven't gone to the table yet, so I don't know what they want me to say. So no, I'll I'll tell you. I have a lot of experience in community organizing in East Dracut because they were building a pipeline that was going through the state forest, and I was a co-chair of the committee trying to fight this pipeline in Dracut. It was a statewide thing, just as 40B is a statewide thing. And what we did is we, when the pipeline location was moved to East Dracut, in other words, it wasn't just going to come in from New Hampshire, but it was going to go through a lot of East Dracut, including Lowell's and everything. We went door to door and we got the neighbors involved and we sent information out. We educated the community. Caroline Zuck took over the committee and organized meetings at the American Legion. So I think that the committee has done this committee has done the hard work of doing all that. In other words, they've gotten the community, the neighborhood rallied against the proposal. What they probably need to do now is figure out what are the strategic things they need to do to actually have leverage. And you can't have leverage over a project, as we learned this with the pipeline, unless you make it uneconomic for them to go forward. Right. With the pipeline, they were going to sell all these contracts, sell natural gas with the pipeline, and we went after the whole question of demand of the pipeline, and it ended up that all the legal battles and all the drops in contracts made it uneconomic, and they realized that if they went forward with it, then it was less likely they were less likely to make money going with the project than canceling the project. And the same strategy has to be applied in this case. It's a housing. I do think it's something we need, and I'm not opposed to projects of that density in Dracut. It's just that, do you want to have something way out in the middle of nowhere? Because if you do something like that, I think what people are afraid of is you're going to get 20 other projects of the same density in that part of Dracut, and it just completely change the whole town to something completely different. At least that half of the town.
So we talked about as you know, you said the financial situation in Dracut in the future doesn't look good. So what kinds of economic development do you think we can do here in Dracut that can help ease that issue?
Let me throw something out. I mean, just because the assumption that people put out is that you build a lot of housing, you build a lot of developments, and that's going to result in financial disaster. Because they're going to have so many kids coming into the schools. And to me, to me, it's a little bit. That's not quite the analysis I have. I think that if I was managing the town, I'm not naming names or actually thinking about anybody in particular. Part of it is that you do get short-term revenue from the permitting process, get short-term revenue from the new taxes coming in, you get the new growth. So that new money comes in and you can kind of it's like a Ponzi scheme. If you have aggressive growth coming in and you add 500 units a year, they can actually balance some of the budgetary things that they want to do. I think that the challenge is trying to get the town to have a vision of how to plan this out in a way where they can actually make the form of development something that is not they're not desperate for in order to just get to the next fiscal year.
Gotcha.
And in some ways, the town will be reluctant to fight it if they think they need the revenue just to make ends meet for the next 6 months.
Well,
So you got to watch whether the town is really going to get behind fighting this or not. I'm not convinced at this point that they are.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Because you heard the comments of the town manager at one of the selectmen meetings. Like the city is coming and there's nothing we can do about it, which is the same thing that she said 15 years ago, or well, actually no, 7 years ago when the pipeline was coming. She says, well, they're going to build a pipeline and there's nothing we can do about it. Well, we showed them that there is something that you can do about it and we stopped it.
Well, Rich, we thank you for your service on that finance committee, and we thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Let's have you on for a full show, or full half hour, 40 minutes, and we can talk about all things finance.
Sure. Well, I think I gave you a little bit of time here, so
yeah, you did.
Spoke my mind. So
give
here
us
you go.
something in the future.
Take it easy.
Thank you very much,
Rich.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Thanks.
Good to see you.
So I wanted to talk. Do you have anything else on basketball? Because I want to get on. Football.
Yeah.
I wanted to move on to another issue. Has anybody seen that Kathy Richardson, former select person for Dracut, has put a proposal before CPC seeking to take 9+ acres of her farm off of Richardson I think it's Richardson Road or East Richardson Road.
It might be East.
That she wants to now take 9+ acres and sell it to the town for open space and recreation. Has anybody seen that?
Yeah, and it's all slab underneath slate.
It's all slate. Most of it's slate and not buildable stuff. And she's trying to, in my opinion, trying to make a score on it. I've just realized about it the other day, and I'm going to look more into it heavily. It's land that she has tried to sell before, but the town refused. And now she's trying to, she's got CPC and open space. I'm not sure convinced. I mean, they do a great job, those two committees. So, but I think there's pushback on CPC that why should we pay for something that isn't going to be developed anyways? And we also already have development rights on that property, don't you know? Right?
I don't know.
They have a 61A. So
Well, 60
not rights.
Right,
It's
that's
the first right of refusal.
First right of
We got
refusal.
5 minutes, folks. Yep. So I'd like to hear from people on that and try to get the issue resolved. I have Moose Borowski calling me. I wonder if he wants to get on the air. Hey, Moose, I'm on. Moose, hello, Moose.
Live TV,
Moose.
ladies and gentlemen.
Moose, hello.
He's not there. He must have butt down.
Hello. Well,
we only have 5 minutes.
Yeah, we only have 5 minutes, Moose. So we already plugged the American Legion meeting, but I don't know why we have to spend tax dollars on property just to connect other farms together that have conservation. I know they want to do a trail through there, so why can't she just give us easement rights to where she wants to do that?
That's certainly something that could be done, but I'm not familiar with the property.
So we're going to look into that. Can you take a look at that, everybody? What do you think of? Let's get on to some national issues, right? Is Joe Biden about to go down in flames with his son Hunter? Quickly, because we only got a couple minutes.
No.
Huh? You don't think so?
No, he's untouchable.
Well, I don't agree with that, but
I think he's going to go down. Yep. They're going to find out. They're going to dig into this a little bit more, and they're going to find out there's a quid pro quo there.
Absolutely. And Phil, what do you think about what's going on with over there in Ukraine, that they want to give more money to Ukraine, and it's just outrageous what's going on in terms of the money that we're spending and where it's going.
Yeah, there probably should be some sort of oversight on it, and I know there's really none at the moment.
But yet, he's holding up. The Biden administration is holding up funding for Hawaii and Ohio. Let's see. This is Moose again. Let's see if he goes on. Hello, Moose. Hello, Moose. We only got 3 minutes, Moose. We already talked about you on. We're still on the air. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I'd like to say basically again, just reiterate next Saturday at the Dracut American Legion, parents, people from Dracut, and so forth.
Yep. Yeah, we said it's from 1 to 4 at the American Legion, and it's anybody that's interested in saving all sports. We're going to talk about football, but we would want to try to save all sports and help the sports programs along, right, Moose?
That's correct.
Okay,
but Gordy has hit the nail on the head too. He's talking about the basketball situation, but it'll be quite interesting. It'll be a good meeting. We've invited people within the school system, but I get no feedback. It's zero.
Well, we'll talk about that on the next meeting, on our next show. But Moose, I got to run because they're wrapping up the show here. We're going off the air in a minute. Okay, my friend? Okay. Talk to you soon.
Oh, and John, in terms of events coming up, do you know what tonight is?
What's today?
Tonight at St. Joseph's, the Workers' Shrine in downtown Lowell, our good friend, ticket topper Rebecca Duda, won an award, and they're having the ceremony tonight at 4 o'clock to give it to her to congratulate
her. Very nice, very nice. I'm going to leave you, I think we're wrapping it up, or we're close, right? I'm going to leave you with this, folks. How do you feel about paying an extra $800 a month because of Bidenomics? How do you feel about that? What do you think?
I don't like it.
I mean, that equates to over almost $4,000 a year.
It's not getting any better, John.
No, gas prices are going up. He's one fall away, as Sean Hannity says, from disaster, and we get Kamala Harris. Folks, thank you for joining us here today. It's been a great thing. Special edition. We're going to have Gordy send us off. Come down and get something here and do some craft searching. Go ahead.
Folks, thanks for watching our show as always. John didn't get into a fight today, which is good. But we thank you very much for watching. Hope you can make it down to Old Home Day. It's a beautiful day, blue sky above us, and fried dough for me and Phil coming up. And when it's Wednesday and 6:30, or in this case, Saturday and 11, it's What's Happening Dracut. Thanks, Dracut.
Have a great day, everybody.
Happy Old Home Day.
Great day. Thank you.
All right.